Welcome everyone, this is Evelyn. I have two union reads for you. The first one's very short, but it sets up the second one, so it was important that I do both. And I wanted to bring up a couple commonalities that have been coming up in the past few days too. I actually did 3 twin flame reads the past 3 days. I did one on the first, the second, and the third, but I just wasn't feeling putting them out there, and I may still put them all out there in one video. But I wanted to get out these union videos. They seem to be more calling me right now. And this was really beautiful today, but the first one sets up the second one, so pay attention to both. And also Brazil was coming up multiple times here, as well as yesterday and the day before 3 to 4 was coming up regarding 34 of the 8 of Wands, but also 3 to 4 of the Empress and the Emperor, and just 3 to 4 of that energy of the 3 to 4, and the 7, and then the 7 going to the 8, and the 78 is the end of the tarot, the 78. So there's a big significance there, which came up again in the reads today. So pay attention to that, as well as Easter coming up, as well as Esther and E-Star, and also the Trojan War and the walls of Jericho. So a lot of the walls coming tumbling down, but also a lot about the Middle East and Greece, that whole area, and Africa. So here we go with this first union read. I'm going to show you both pictures. The one in front of you is the second one I did. They're both done today. Hold on one second. All right, so this was the first read. Okay, and I'll explain the setup in a second if you're not familiar. And this is the read that's in front of you now. Okay, this is a longer, more complex read. Okay, so let me just catch my breath. I was just running literally, so I'm sorry, I'm still sweating. So if you notice my face sweating, I apologize for that, but I don't, because I really need to get out there and run and get some sunshine today. It's a bit chilly still, but it was nice to be able to get out and run after so much snow the past week or two. All right, and I definitely had a purge last night. I was watching this series, Hollow. So I don't know if you've seen it, but I loved it. So if you haven't seen Hollow and you're a twin flame, you might want to watch that. I definitely cried a lot last night because the series finished, but it was, it was just a purge as well that needed to come up. But I'm still feeling that sorrowfulness coming up today as well. So you might want to check that out a little bit, to get the last of that sludge out of us, right? So this first read, this union read, is for the 4th, 5th, and 6th D, right? Leaving the 3D energy behind. This is the 4th D, this is the 5th D, and this is the 6th D. This is the ingoing divine feminine, the outgoing divine masculine, and then the bottom of the deck I put up here for you as the underlying energy. Sorry, you can't see. The underlying energy is the 6 of crystals over here. This is the SIRIAN Starseed deck. And then the final card is the Tower over here. Okay? This is the feminine on the left. On the right is the divine masculine. The middle is the bridge between as we go forward here. So this first read, so interesting because 369 was coming out the past couple of days. And then the number that came up in the grid of the first read, because I total all the numbers from the cards, both horizontally and vertically, and then the total number. The total number for the first read was 36, which is the Atlas number, the weight of the world upon your shoulders. The 36, which is 369. The second read was the 41 of the Ace of Cups, but we'll get into that when we get there. For this read, we go from the 6 of Pentacles to the middle card here, the center, which is the 3 of Flames, to the Tower, okay? So lightning strikes from frog to prince, hanging out to see the difference. The divine feminine's coming up as the Queen of Pentacles here, the divine masculine coming up as the King of Swords. As I added the numbers and they came up to 36 and Atlas for this read, the message here was also about the Hierophant and the High Priestess, and another Hierophant, or perhaps the High Priestess and the Hierophant are the Knight of Wands. Patient with destiny, or patient destined, with the Empress, Shadow, False Light, and Atlas here. We had a lot of Taurus coming up here with the numbers, as well as Capricorn, Cancer, Pisces, Sagittarius, and Libra. All right, this is this first read. So the ingoing Divine Feminine is surrendering to the strength of the Queen of Pentacles, the Divine Feminine to her own strength. And also, I want you to note, let me show you that picture just real quick so you get the visual of this. Sorry, my phone was locked there. Okay. All right. So in this first read here, just notice the colors here, okay? So you see the orange color in the middle of the masculine side and the orange in the middle of the feminine side, and they're both Leo cards. One's the Strength, one's the Sun. Very much bringing up Lionsgate here. And then the other orange color here is the Justice card. So just, I want you to notice the color differences there as I go on, so you understand what I'm talking about. So as the surrender of strength of the Queen of Pentacles, she is the white Bengal tiger in the Ring of Fire, but this is a Leo card, the Strength card here. And then we have the masculine as the Pegasus in his card there, as the stream of light, and also the Leo card, the Sun. So Leo, Leo. Okay, so we have two Leos here, and we have Lionsgate, which is 8-8, which is the same kind of energy. Then we have the 4D of the Divine Feminine. The Divine Feminine in her knowing. That's the Two of Swords as she's floating. Knowing and floating on air and numb, as the Divine Masculine is sitting and floating on water in thought, bridged by destiny and divine timing. The outgoing Divine Masculine is the Ten of Cups, family and emotional fulfillment, sunshine, exposure, vacation of the King of Swords. In the 5D, the Divine Feminine, justice, the Divine Masculine's pain, bridged by stretching, at war within, Mount Everest. The 6D is the Divine Feminine, Page of Swords, with a message reaching up, the Divine Masculine and the Empress reaching out, and bridged by the Starseed, big download. Mother and Son was coming up here, and then Son. It's like mother and son, like the feminine with her son and the masculine with his mother. And then also on both sides, they may be dealing with a difficult or a father with issues. This is very interesting the way this came up in this read. The Divine Feminine being numb, but dumb came up here too. Dumb and numb. I'm getting dumb and dumber. The Divine Feminine being numb with Libra energy, sending a message, that little light, or the Libra Sun, S-O-N or S-U-N, however it comes to you. The Divine Masculine being numb, ending the pain with the Empress and abundance, or the Taurus Mother, and that could be a spouse as well. The bridge between is the 4D Divine Timing, the 5D stretch, which can be the home stretch, and the 6D receiving and in the opening of the crown. The heat is on, and remember the crown references Leo as well. The heat is on for the Divine Feminine 5D Justice, she surrendering as lightning strikes the Bengal white tiger through the Ring of Fire, which is Leo, the lion, right? And as the Divine Masculine with family emotionally fulfilled, he, the Pegasus, the mighty Sagittarius stallion, leaping through, again Leo the lion as well, the Divine Masculine hanging out to see a new perspective. A tough time of year for both as the Mary Magdalene and Jesus template at Easter and Esther and Mother and Son. From the Divine Feminine lighthouse in the storm and the Divine Masculine's arduous climb, from frog to prince of Mount Everest to hang out for a while. A destined big download coming. All right, so this is this first read. And that one was done at 10:01, right as 10:01 to 10:02 changed. It was this first read. The second read was done at 10:19, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the Sun. So here's that Sun again. And I wanted to make a note too that today's date is that 3-4, which kept coming up the past couple days, 3-4, 3-4, 3-4, and it came up again today in the union reads. So this one in front of you is the union again of the 4, 5, and 6D at 10:19, starting with the 6 of Pentacles to the 3 of Flames and then to the Tower. I'm sorry, I probably showed you this for the first read and that didn't make any sense, but I showed you that picture as well. So going from the 6 of Pentacles, the 3 of Wands, and the Tower, sharing in the present the gift or epiphany or sudden event here. The IDE or IDF of the ingoing divine feminine or inward divine feminine. The Six of Cups, the Star, and the Seven of Pentacles, which in the SIRIAN Starseed deck for me is the divine feminine's heart in the E-Tower. The inner and outer children loving each other. The Egyptian rock star, which references Atlantis, and that's big here too, healing the back of leg or lower thigh above the knee, which was very interesting because I had not only my daughter complaining about pain about the leg behind the knee and then radiating up to the butt and down to the foot, someone I went to see this week also complained of the exact same thing. So here is the Egyptian, and you see this Egyptian card. She's actually doing healing work on the back of the leg here. Okay. So with celestial energy in the E-Tower, while the divine masculine's working on crystals outside the divine feminine's heart. The Six of Ci, the S7 of crystals, or the love of Chinese poetry perhaps, using the mouth here and there. The Sophia, the salt of the earth. The chariot of earth, or the vehicle of crystals. The children of Atlantis. Leaving divine masculine outside the E-Tower in Riddle Me This on how to scale the walls or break them down as the walls of Jericho come tumbling down. In the 4D is the divine feminine, the Queen of Wands playing multiple roles. The Queen, the servant, the healer, crowning herself. The divine masculine with the Queen of Swords, the war widow of light, with their hand on the trigger, ready to blow, to strike. In all the world's a stage, and all the world's at war. You can make it all play, or all too serious, or meet at the monk key in the middle, the diamond in the rough, birthed from coal, under pressure for a long, long time. The Rock of Gibraltar, enduring unbearable pain, and that's coming now up, the impossible dream. The same energy of the adrenochrome, the olive tree in the desert, the literal sword in the stone. The Excalibur buried and now revealed, like the stitch left behind in surgery that slowly makes its way to the surface. This diamond, however, has waited at least 144,000 years of 2020 hindsight to re-emerge. 36 by 4, 72,000 in parallel universes. 2 by 2 in Noah's Ark. Noah, think about this. Noah. Now an ark, which is a rainbow. Now a bridge. Noah's Ark. The Ark of the Covenant. The vehicle, the portal, the bridge. To each other again. The pillar or pillars of light of Atlas times 4. 2 divine feminines and 2 divine masculines. 1 in each, triggered by the emperor's roar. The imp's urgent roar to carry the weight of the world until he says so. And then Zeus was coming up, and the description of Zeus is totally Metatron. So one of the quotes came up from thoughtco.com, was on March 8th, which is now coming up, 4 days from now, 3 to 4, on 3/4, on March 8th, 2017, which happens to be a date after I hadn't seen my twin for 3 months. I decided to go back and see him, was March 8th, several years ago. So that's a significant date for me as well. And actually that was 2017. I wasn't even realizing that. But this article is 3/8/17, Rockefeller Center, New York, and notice that Rockefeller is Rock-E-Feller, like a fella, Rock-E-Fella. The center in New York City, a giant 2-ton statue of Atlas holding the world on his shoulders, made in no other year but 1936, the 369, by Lee Lowry and Renee Chamberlain, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. The Titan giant with job to hold up the world, which is really the sky in the heavens, the celestial sphere, or the sky, as the Atlantic Ocean is named after Atlas, because at that time, that area was thought to be the end of the world. There was no United States. And this is from mythologian.net. They didn't know about the United States yet, so the Atlantic Ocean was literally the end of the world. So also Atlas was referenced as Northwest Africa and the Atlas Mountains, which is one of the pillars referenced to the Rock of Gibraltar, thinking that the pillars are the Rock of Gibraltar and one of two places in North Africa, one of them being in Morocco and the other being in Northeast Africa, which is owned by Spain. It's Spanish territory, but it's in Africa. So the northwest one in Morocco is the Atlas energy, the Atlas Mountains, and then the northeast one, and these are from my downloads, the northeast mountain that comes up in Spain is the Hercules energy, neither one of them being the other pillar of the Rock of Gibraltar. Rock of Gibraltar is the altar. These are the two pillars of Hercules and Atlas, and from enwikipedia.org, guarding the golden apples. Remember why Hercules gave Atlas a break, was for him to go get the apples. So, and Morocco's come up in my downloads too as the Garden of Eden, and that's where those olive trees grow those really good olives, because they are starved in the desert, and so they produce this ingredient that's really good for us. So Hercules was accused of cheating, so he was assigned two more tasks. One was to steal apples from the garden of Hesperides and the nymph who were believed to be Atlas's daughters. He didn't know where this was, so he was wandering around and met Prometheus on Mount Caucasus, chained to the mountains for helping mankind, or perhaps a kind man. Hercules helped Prometheus by killing the eagle every day who was pecking out his liver, and then he told Hercules how to get the apples. He should send Atlas to get them. Hercules told Atlas he would carry his burden if he would go get his apples. Atlas didn't want it back, but Hercules tricked him into taking it back. Others say that Hercules built two pillars to take the weight of the world off of Atlas' shoulders, the pillars of Hercules they would be called, but the download I'm getting is that one is the pillar of Hercules and one is the pillar of Atlas. One is believed to be the Rock of Gibraltar, but that's not what I'm getting. I'm getting that is the altar. And the other is Jebel Musa, which is at Mount Moses in Morocco, which would be Atlas pillar, and then the Monte Hacho in Spain, which is also Africa, but it's Spanish territory, which would then be the Hercules pillar. The ark being the portal to the Strait of the USA. Now remember when this happened, no one knew about the United States. They didn't know it existed. So literally the two pillars in Africa point to the Rock of Gibraltar, which is English territory, even though it's at the bottom of Spain. And you notice like no one's altar here is in their actual homeland, right? It's their property in someone else's space. And then the Strait of Gibraltar, it's like the Rock of Gibraltar is the portal out of here, whereas the Strait of Gibraltar is then the arrow pointing to the United States that they were unaware of at the time. So there's actually two different arrows here. So Atlas also refused Perseus' shelter, who asked him for shelter. So Perseus used, the head of Gorgon Medusa he had slain to turn Atlas into the Rocky Mountains, or the Atlas Mountains in North Africa. And then I told you Morocco has come up for me as the Garden of Eden, the Atlas Point, where Spain is the East Africa, and Hercules, and then the Rock of Gibraltar, which is English, which is the portal they protect and direct to the scepter. That Zeus is the sky and the thunder, and if you followed me for a long time, you know that for me, thunder is Metatron and lightning is Michael. So thunder's coming up as Zeus, which is then Metatron. The scepter, the eagle, the bull, and the oak tree, he's all referenced by. The thunder god, Metatron, king of gods at Mount Olympus, which makes sense because Metatron is the chief archangel. Zeus, and this is from en.m.wikipedia.org. So Zeus is supposed to be equal to Jupiter, but it's not actually, the energy is not actually identical. And also to Thor and a few others. And also he's the child of Kronos, or Saturn, and Re, R-H-E-A, but also like the ray of sun. Zeus was a player, and Hercules one of many children. All even the gods would rise in his presence to Zeus. Zeus also is the magician. If you see him, he holds the magic wand and directs the lightning, which is Michael. The Zeus from the word Deus and then PH2TER, which means sky father, and in Greek it was Deus. And then there's other transcriptions of the words, but they're coming from the words like Dyaus, which also comes from Sanskrit and also can be referenced to the meaning to shine and also called Zen. So the first of Kronos, Kronos had swallowed all of his kids since he learned from Gaia and Uranus that he'd be overthrown by his son like he had done to his father Uranus. When Zeus was about to be born, Rhea, his mom, gave Kronos a blanket with a rock in it instead of Zeus that she had actually birthed in Crete, and then Kronos gobbled up the rock instead of Zeus. And then Zeus was able to free his brothers by cutting open his stomach, and they in turn gave him as a gift in return the thunder and the thunderbolt, previously hidden by Gaia. Zeus's brothers and sisters overthrew Kronos and the Titans, and then cast into the shadowy underworld, Tartarus, except for Atlas, who was holding up the sky. Zeus split the world with his elder brothers, Poseidon and Hades, where they drew lots. Zeus, the sky and heavens, Poseidon, the waters, and Hades, the world of the dead, or the underworld. The ancient earth, or Gaia, could not be claimed and left to all three according to their capabilities. Poseidon, the earth shaker, or the one who made earthquakes, and Hades claimed humans who died. Gaia resented Zeus, since the Titans were also her children, and then he had to fight some of her other children as well. Zeus was also appalled by human sacrifice and decadence. So Zeus flooded the world along with the help of Poseidon. So only what was left was only, I'm probably not pronouncing this right, so please don't don't shoot me. All right, so only Deucalion or Deucalion, not sure how it's pronounced, but literally if you spell this word out, it's Deucalion. It's basically deuce lions, two lions. And so that and Pyra were the only things left. Pyrrha remained. So we have two lions and Pyra, which is Pi and Ra. Two lions and Pi, or the pineal gland of Ra, at 1144, justice, and the 44 of mastering, grounding, and integrating of love. Two lions, the pillars of Atlas and Hercules, and the rock of Gibraltar, the Pi of Ra. Two pillars that guard the portal, the ark, the bridge, the rock of Gibraltar. And then they were having me break down Gibraltar to give you the meanings that were coming through with this. And again, Brazil came through here like 3 different times. And remember here, the countries that are coming up here are England, Africa, and Spain. Gibraltar. These are the different translation of what it means. A sprinkle of butter or grease. Remember the greasy wheel? I give to you, you give to me, one of 2 vectors in quantum states, Bra and Ket, friends who are brave, to be and cost, or aging, but then to be located and try to stay in the present moment. So that was the energy coming up from Gibraltar. Also the Hebrew bolt, the joint, wedge, the articulation, the castrated male cat, or hooked by the lower jaw in a male salmon or trout, something that holds you in place or puts them in their place. Ra and Taras, multiple Taras, so multiple 5D earths, the dirty part left over from the coal, to be bald, star, obsession, flawed, vice, E-star and Esther came up, and a left twist, the twist towards the divine feminine, or 2,240 pounds. 22 and 40 is the Fool's Journey and the Page of Cups, the innocent love. 2240 pounds between them. The imperial, that meant to come up that way as the imperial ton instead of the imperial ton. The emperor imp, his ton of weight, or local time, again, which is the present moment. The bolt of Ra and El, the Elohim, and to be the donkey, or ass, a Persian guitar, or North African frame drum, a hollow instrument. Tara and Esther, the Persian queen, after Vashti refuses to obey him, King Ahasuerus, Esther is chosen for her beauty. The king's chief advisor, however, Haman, and I was getting Hyman when that came up, offended by Esther's cousin and guardian, Mordecai, gets permission from the king to have all the Jews in the kingdom killed. Esther foils the plan and wins permission for the Jews, to kill their enemies, and they do so then, and that's Purim. The Jewish practice to not only have the Hebrew name, but also one redolent of pagan connotations. In the Tanakh, Esther is given two names, Hadassah and Esther, the feminine form of myrtle, a plant associated with hope, and the olive green complexion, the complex connection. So Hadassah was a Persian equivalent. The ES from Esther was supposed to be equal to myrtle. So for some reason I was supposed to bring up all the Zeus and Atlas and Hercules stuff, and Esther as well, as the two lions and the pineal of Ra at the Rock of Gibraltar, the lion's gate being the 8 and the 8, the two lions that I showed you in the first union read. The gate to 8-9, which happens to be my parents' anniversary, and my mother just passed away, or 8-9, going from August to September, the scepter, the 9, the end, the compassion, the path of no return. Atlas and Hercules, and again, that's the altar, right? The path of no return, where it's a portal through to another realm or dimension. The Atlas and Hercules in competition for the scepter, the bolt, the DNA strand, the strand that holds it all together, the weight of the world, the skies and the heavens, the portal from 3D to 5D, heaven on earth, the new world. Not the USA, but the new world in another dimension through the Rock of Gibraltar. But both, because the arrow points in both directions. One to the English Rock of Gibraltar land, and then one to the USA, which are both connected, right? The English colonies came to the United States. The 5D, the Divine Feminine and the Knight of Wands with a slow-burning passion. The Divine Masculine, the Ace of Cups, overflowing. The ball or the buoy in the water that the dolphin was waiting, the truth just beneath the surface, where the dolphin was waiting to poke that ball, because I brought that up the other day. The dolphin, the ball or the buoy, the dolphin poked was the Holy Grail, which is now up in the air, to leave some space for which to catch with a net, which came up the other day, okay? So here's now that ball is now the chalice or the Holy Grail that's now up in the air with space between the Grail and the emotions of the water, freeing up time and space, suspended in midair and bridged by being present to the third flame. The 6D here is the Divine Feminine floating on air, where the air is thin atop Mount Everest, waiting for the frog to become the prince. The Divine Masculine, the Knight of Pentacles, with crystal in hand, in Greece or Mecca, bridged by the higher self as the moon calms down. The higher self between two pillars, and she the ray, the feminine of Ra, at 107, the magician and the chariot, grounded in water to conduct the etheric realm. And also that comes up all the time as the water we need to conduct to become the light bulb. Or I always say that the water's equal to ultrasound gel for an ultrasound. At 108 is the magician and the 8 of the dance, and again of the strength card, the lion and August, as the Divine Feminine is the Queen of Wands and the Knight of Wands, going to floating on air in the 6D. The fire getting lesser and lesser as she goes up the chain. Could be two fiery children, the girl who's more fiery than the boy, red to yellow to white, helping children to purify. The daughter in the 4D, the son in the 5D, the Divine Feminine in the 6D, and in the 4D looking back to check in on them, but in the 6D in her full knowing to not worry about them at all, about their progress, because she's in her knowing, her full knowing in the 6D. In the Divine Masculine is the Queen of Swords, grieving with her left hand on the sword that's not wielded, assuming the truth while unaware that the Holy Grail is above her head. Overwhelming love feeding the waters to the 6D proposal, the gift of crystal light, creating the new world while igniting the higher self to come out of emotional waters. The divine masculine could also be dealing with children, the Queen of Swords in the 4D, and or a son in the 6D, or that he is the 6D and being patient to meet and greet with his higher self in the 6D, he with a bit of time before the Queen of Swords gets to 5D. 2 knights and 2 queens, the masculine and feminine in each. She lighting up her passions and he lighting up his thoughts. Or, I'm sorry, not lighting up, but lightening up. She lightening up her passions and he lightening up his thoughts to allow love to guide them, the 6D loyal, humble servant. So then the bridge here. The diamond is exposed. The diamond is exposed. The third flame is exposed. The higher self exposed. As the Rock of Gibraltar, from Mount Zion, or the Z connection, to the shore of Tripoli, the Triple E connection, comes the higher self, at peace with you and me, leaving the ass behind. And if you pick that up, right, that's the expression of don't make an ass out of you and me. So here comes the higher self at peace with you and me, leaving the ass behind, you and me. And you and me actually equals a Japanese apricot or a feminine name, but also a male with the know-how and the understanding, the child, the mist, the 2 of them, with the ground, the sand, the floor, the earth, and the soil, the compost that is U-M-E. The outgoing divine masculine ignited after the dolphin gave a little poke, a friendly Lemurian with Metatron's cube in energetic exchange and arrows of love, in a tower moment as the walls come tumbling down, the bridge over troubled Walters, so I don't know if there's a Walter here, the bridge over troubled waters, land ho, as lightning not only strikes over waters, but walls that men have built as well. A well, a deep hole that needs to be filled in letting go of shadows of the past and scalings of the wall, the writings on the wall. As Kip uses a gib or jib to our altar, Gibraltar, pushing and pulling through landmines and emotional waters to display by candlelight the writings on the wall, by Sam I am, the monk keys, uncle, I give. The divine feminine finds balance to be present to flame in a sudden tower moment that changes everything. So the number grid that came up for this read, horizontally and then vertically as well, and then the total number being 41. The horizontal numbers were 8, 4, and 29. The vertical was 12, 7, 2, 4, 1, 1, 6, 8. And so the message came up here as the strong emperor, present to new love, hanging out 72, the high priestess and emperor, the justice of the page of pentacles, curiosity that killed the cat or caused his surrender. Hanging out in the chariot, the high priestess and the emperor, 2 magi's in the lover's dance. The strong emperor roars, present to new love. Okay, and the 41 of the Ace of Cups, which is on the masculine side in the 5D. So I am going to pull a card for you here. We're at 3343. Look at that with the 3s and 4s. It was just 3344 too, which is my business number. And that's so weird. When I was jogging, I was thinking about that because my phone number is 5544 and my business number is 3344. And the clock now, the regular clock is 344. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. The clock's 344 and this was just 33. It just turned 34. Wow. So 3-4, that's the energetic exchange of the 8 of Wands, but also the 3 to 4, the Empress and the Emperor. And I just want to pull you a energy deck card here. All right, what is our takeaway from this? 3, 4, 5. Wow, that was crazy. It was 33:43 and then 33:44. Well, the clock said 3:43 and 3:44. everybody watching, the best and highest good of all is concerned. What do we need to know and learn? What is our takeaway from all this? All right, the cards that came up here are Cornucopia, which is like Thanksgiving every day. That's the 11 of Justice, Truth and Balance, which is, this is your truth and balance. Having thanks and having abundance every day. And then the other card here, let me just focus a little bit. The other card here is the Thinking Man of the 46. The 46 is the children in the garden. The masculine figuring out what he truly loves to do. And there's that three-way crystal, which I have on my table in the center of the read as well here. Okay, so we have justice of the inner children, loving each other and having gratitude for the abundance within here. And then the magician in the mirror, right? The two magicians facing each other, a face-off. What's that movie, Face Off, with Nicolas Cage? I'm getting face-off. And you see that there's different energies coming out from each hand. Remember, the left is the feminine going inward, the masculine is going outward. And he's also got the infinity symbol above his head, the crown, with the light spraying out from the crown. It's like a bow crowning him. A bow. It's like a bow as a boyfriend. Yeah, I'm getting like the winter and the summer energies. You know, the silver and the gold. Silver and gold. That's from Rudolph, right? Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, leading the pack. And it's so funny because I have a red stick from my my singing bowls that's up. You can't see on my piano, but there's like a Cinderella coach on my piano with a deer, and on top of it is that stick, and it always looks like the red-nosed reindeer. It looks like a flower on top because it's just a red big ball on the top of this pumpkin. So, and that's been coming up this week as well. So Rudolph is the one leading the pack. And how many other reindeers do they lead? Rudolph is the 9th of the 8, and that came up in the read, going from Lionsgate or August into September. So here that's coming up again, and this is 5-3, which is 8. That's interesting. And then these two are 10 and 11. So what's between 8 and 10 and 11? 9. That's the missing piece. And then here's the magician in the mirror, right? This also could be father and son, dealing with father and son. My son's actually taking care of his father right now, so that could be coming up for sure. In both ways, whether it's your son and their father or the divine masculine and his father. And then we have strategy going on here, which is very scorpionic. The 21 of the world, completion with the compass, the key and the lock, like all tools on board with the magician here. And making a plan, right? Setting a course. The bottom of the deck here is the sun. And there we were talking about the sun with the Leo energy. And again, Lionsgate coming up, but also the spring is coming up. So it's not just about August. I just said March 8th came up as well. It's going to be different for everybody. Everything this spring is going to be significant because it's a new start for everybody. The 44, which came up again, which is the grounding and integrating and mastering of love. The 4 of Cups and the woman holding her heart, right, holding space. And then the sun, which is number 1, which is magician energy. And as the sun, as it starts getting sunnier. And look what's behind the woman holding a heart. Check it out. The woman and the man holding a heart coming up under the sun. And what is this again? The 8 to the 9. And then comes the 1, the sun. Here comes the sun, da 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 da. Here comes the sun, and I say, it's all right, da 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 da. Behind them, the woman and the man holding their hearts are a lot of children dealing with things, and also dark mother energy. All right, so this is all the stuff coming up right behind that, right? It's all the kids and their issues and the dark mother. All right, this is what happened behind the scenes. And then came out this is all the underlying energy, the man and woman with a heart, and then the sun, all exposed. And what did I say in the read? Everything was being exposed. All right, guys, I hope you like that. I will try to get the other 3 reads out tonight before I want to get another read done. I hope you like that. I did. Make sure you get your joy and your love and all those other things that you need. Rise and be loved, guys. Bye.